Awesome. Everyone, please remember to sign into the document. I'll post it one more time. I'm gonna skip over new faces, so let's move right into team lead updates. It looks like we have representation from implementation, learning, and BAT here today. I'm gonna start with implementation.
So I added some stuff to the documents. Basically, for Docker files, the story is the same as the last few weeks. We got some good feedback in working group on some of the remaining open questions that were brought up in the RFC.
We're in the same document. I don't see the stuff in the document. Sorry.
Oh no. Oh yes, sorry. Let me copy paste this to the. I just put it in the
down
wrong
here in history.
Yeah. Let me. Okay. Yes. Oh, here we are. Okay. Here. Yeah. So nothing really more to say about Docker files, except please go review those are like the open PRs, because I think that all the changes, that we talked about have made their way into GitHub. So I would love if everyone could give their approval. And just a quick update that we're working on the pack changes that are required. I did put under RFCs, I put a new RFC up yesterday. If everyone could take a look, it's an idea for making stack upgrades easier to consume. And I made some updates to an earlier RFC about SBOM for the life cycle, so based on Emily's feedback. That's all.
Thanks, Natalie. That sounds great. Should we move on to BAT team?
Yeah. The skeleton for the profile build pack is ready. I spoke with Gabe yesterday, and he is going to create a PR with the implementation, hopefully this week.
Awesome. Do we have any learning updates? I think Joe's the team lead there, but he's not here. Maybe Aiden can give us a overview of what's going on.
Yeah, just trying to squash some bugs on the repo or some issues on the repo. And we've got the 2 videos that demonstrate using Pack on a Python project and a Node.js project that we surfaced on the chat. Any feedback on those would be great, because we want to put those up so that people see them early in their build packs journey, so they can see precisely what we do.
I thought those were really great.
Are those just in the learning team Slack?
Yes, I can share them with you if you want, though.
Our next agenda item is spec release planning. I think Natalie gave us some update there with a plea for final reviews on the Docker file stuff. Other than that, do we have any spec release items to discuss? I'm going to say that's a no. And we can move on to working group agenda. What do we want to talk about tomorrow? You have that new RFC about stack upgrades, Natalie. Is that something you'd like to intro to everyone tomorrow in the working group? I wonder if we've lost Natalie.
Oh,
Gonna-
I'm
Oh,
here.
sorry. I'm sorry. I was just asking if you wanted to talk about the graceful stack upgrade RFC at the working group tomorrow.
Yeah, I can do that.
What else is on people's minds? That'd be a good working group topic. I'm going to leave it there for now then, but as people think of stuff, we can add it. I know I'm planning to try to work through my review backlog today, so we'll see if it creates any ideas. Who has access to fix the team up? That's the next thing I put on this, so we can assign someone to fix the calendar.
I think only Javier and I. Actually, that's probably not true. It's probably in 1Password. I think only Javier and I are people who've done it in the past.
Can I
So not
assign
that
you the action item to fix it because Javier's not here?
Yeah. So I can't find it in 1Password, so. I've
It
done
is-
it in the past, but
It's not in 1Password, but we should probably add the CNCF ID to team up and create an account using the CNCF ID so that we can put it in 1Password.
You want me to sign that to somebody?
yeah, I can take a look at it. If not, I will reach out for help.
This next agenda item came out of our discussion as we were all mingling around before the meeting. Do we want to schedule a separate TOC, public TOC meeting, probably at a less frequent cadence, or are we happy with this leads channel being the forum to have those discussions?
I guess my question would be, what would we want to do in the TOC meeting that's different? Or are we just looking for more time and space?
I think it's an interesting question. I think maybe part of the reason I'm warm on the idea is sort of in this governance refactor. We've done put a lot of thought into sort of like how team leads roles have changed and what responsibilities we're delegating, but I don't know if we've spent as much time talking about what responsibilities we've retained as the TOC and what efforts we want to lead. Like if we've assigned ourselves in governance, stewardship of the roadmap or stewardship of sort of like broad categories, like where is the space we would talk about and do that.
Yeah, I think personally, I would like to be less important in, meetings that are where it's not, really my responsibility to, drive topics and things like that, right? So like if I could attend a TOC meeting every few weeks that, is just focused on, the kind of longer term, right? I think it would be, easier to find time and also, something that I could, I think more strategically about the particular items that would come up. It'd also be a place for people to take proposals that they want to get TOC approval for in particular, right? Or feedback from the TOC.
I do think it's valuable to have the TOC in this meeting. I guess maybe this meeting can be tactical at times. Like, we need to do things like set the working group agenda and, go through status updates and stuff like that. And I think more strategic stuff, it's sometimes not clear where the right place for that is. Like sometimes we're shoehorning it into the last 5 minutes here, but it's not a great fit, or we're trying to do it in the private meeting, but maybe it should be public just because that's where time exists.
I think once a month is probably a good starting point. I guess my concern is, do we actually have stuff we want to talk about at that cadence? I mean, I guess to Steven's point of like trying to be more strategic and think about longer term things. I do find there's value, at least in this meeting, at least in the first part, of just not needing to go to all the, I guess, like sub team, or I guess we don't call them sub team, but the other team syncs, and kind of just getting status updates. I guess I feel a little selfish in that respect, that I get to leverage other people's kind of time and effort in that sense. And so having some flow of, I wouldn't want to repeat that necessarily in a TOC meeting, but I imagine if, for instance, you are not attending these weekly ones and just attending the monthly ones because of time or whatever constraints, it might be harder to connect, I think, to some degree, the longer term in the day-to-day strategy. So that's a thing I think we'll have to figure out how to solve for that case. But I do think like roadmap and things are, to Emily's point, things that get shoved into the last 5 minutes of these 30-minute meetings, and just is not enough time. Like we've had in our agenda, right, to like review the roadmap once a quarter or whatever, and that just never happens, right? So I think creating space for that would be good.
Maybe this is
Definitely.
something we can socialize in Slack with Joe when he's back, and then send out a doodle if everyone's feeling warm about it.
Sounds good to me.
Speaking of shoehorning the roadmap into the last 5 minutes of the meeting, I don't want to talk specifically about what the roadmap is right now, but I was wondering if we wanted to carve out time to start talking about what the roadmap is. Like, should we be scheduling something? It's like we can either schedule a TOC meeting and start talking about it there, or if we're not going to do that, I think we should schedule some sort of roadmap session where we're going to make it to 2023 without having done any roadmap for 2022.
Sounds like it could be a good thing for a first TOC meeting. If the TOC meetings are public and that's the TOC is kind of leading the roadmap effort, seems like a good motivator for it.
Yeah. Do you have concerns about trying to set a roadmap for the TOC meeting with a monthly cadence though? Like I feel like it's probably one of those things where maybe you kick it off at the TOC meeting, but there's probably hopefully more frequent cadence until it gets done. And it's not like, it's the end of the year, we've now finally established the roadmap.
Seems
Makes
like a good
sense.
cadence for checking in on an established roadmap.
Yeah.
We'll probably need to schedule some sort of one-off, right? I think in the past we've had to do a longer working session, but we can at least this will at least give us a place to start that conversation. Figure out what to do with the roadmap is the first agenda item, and then more things might need to get scheduled after that.
We could start bi-weekly on the TOC meeting instead of monthly, if that would give us more of a cadence to deal with the roadmap. I wouldn't mind doing it a little more often.
Do you have a preference to that independent of the roadmap? Like, do you think bi-weekly is the right cadence?
I think I'm trying to get less involved in tactical things for the project, or like become less important. If that makes sense, for the more of the execution, like this RFC, that RFC, right, and focus on, but still contribute at the high level, right, and focus on bigger technical decisions and things like that. And so I think bi-weekly, and I attend that meeting and attend less of the other things would be good. Monthly, and I still pop into some of the other ones would also be good. So it's not a not a strong preference, but maybe I lean a little towards bi-weekly so that I'm not sometimes showing up to something and sometimes not. And, having people pick up something and then expect me to be there and then worry that I'm not there, if that makes sense. But it's not a very strong preference. I think it could work either way.
It's always easier to cancel meetings than to schedule them. So maybe we just carve out the bi-weekly time and then we could reduce it if we want to.
I don't want to create more meetings for other people. If people like attending these every week, then it's another, time. So like, feel free to push back, or I understand that is a concern.
Yeah,
I think there are certain types of conversations that don't happen in these forums, and I'd like to experiment with how to make them happen.
Yeah, I'm fine with bi-weekly. I just want to make sure, one, it's the right cadence, and then two, that it's not we show up every other week and it's like awkward silence, right? Because there isn't stuff to talk about. So I don't think we'll have that problem, but
I think that brings us to the end of this half-hour meeting, full of wonderful tactical conversations. And I will see you all at the next one.